Hey everybody, I'm Connor and this is going to be a brief review of X-Men Apocalypse, which is the latest installment in the X-Men cinematic kind of franchise, and it kind of just carries on and leads on to like more kind of character development, I guess, because it is set in the 80s, whereas like the end of Days of Future Past was set after that time, so it's kind of filling in the gaps and is more of character development and events that happen within the time that like Wolverine's character is gone, I guess. So overall, starting off with good points about the film and parts that I think worked well and were quite good about the film, trying to find something good about it. I think first of all, the soundtrack of the film works really well. So it is set in the 80s and there is a couple of 80s songs within it. So for example, in Quicksilver's scene, so like in Days of Future Past, how Quicksilver has his own scene essentially, there's the same goes for this film, and in that scene there's a specific song playing and it works really well. And also when like Apocalypse goes and approaches Angel, or Archangel that he becomes, there's like rock music, like a Metallica song playing, which works really well for the scene and it sets up the character well. And overall I think the soundtrack just is really good in bringing together the film as a whole, and of course towards the end there's an epic action-packed kind of soundtrack to go along with the action. And Quicksilver has his own specific scene, just like in Days of Future Past, and that is one step above Days of Future Past. It's a much bigger scale, it's a lot longer, and it is just a really enjoyable and entertaining sequence. It's absolutely, without a doubt, my favourite sequence or scene within the film, and yeah, it just works really well. And I think the third good point that I'll say about this film is overall the story is not great, but the smaller strands and character development within that, such as the development of Cyclops and Jean Grey and characters like that, you see their origins, and there's a lot of small origin stories within the film. I think that works really well, and they can do a lot with that in the future if they want to. So moving on to bad points, as I mentioned, overall the story of the film isn't great, and of course it is another X-Men film and they are all pretty similar, with a group of mutants that are living on the planet trying to protect people. There's this other mutant that's much stronger than the rest of them, or so he thinks, and he tries to overpower, or he tries to take control of the world and wipe out the humans, but our heroic group of mutants go after him and stop him. The problem with this in X-Men Apocalypse is that it is just so blatantly obvious, and there's really no emotional connection, and towards the end when you see scenes of just absolute destruction and cities getting torn apart, we just don't have any connection to them whatsoever, and there's little investment within the film, and it really seems like there's zero consequences for the actions that are happening. I think there's one section, I can't remember specifically what happens, it's gone in a blur honestly, it's that bad, but there's a scene with Jean Grey where they say like various things are happening and you kind of have a connection that there's maybe something bad's going to happen or they're not going to make it, but it's quickly wiped away and you see, oh yeah, they do make it and everything's fine. And it's just a somewhat enjoyable film, somewhat nice action sequences, but overall a not very engaging story, and it's just another X-Men film really. There's nothing that stands out about it, and as a result I'd say it's not nearly as good as X-Men First Class, and definitely nowhere near Days of Future Past, and as a result I'll rate it a 6 out of 10. So if you haven't seen this film in the cinema already, then I don't think it's worth going and, you know, paying your money for, you know, your month of the cinema trip or whatever. Then you could just wait and go and see this film once it's out on DVD or Blu-ray, or stream it in a couple months time, I guess. So definitely not a great film. You know, some nice action sequences, but not a huge amount. It's enjoyable within it. So let me know in the comments if you've seen this new installment, X-Men Apocalypse, or if you're planning to go and see it, then let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.